So today's channeled message is about all the ways astrology can fail, and also what to avoid while using astrology, and why it may not work for some people at all, or more often than not. Even if it works for someone else, even if you're consulting the same astrologer and someone else is receiving results but you don't, why is that? So I'll just dive into it. First and foremost, astrology, whether you're consulting Western astrology or Vedic and sidereal astrology, the purpose of it should always be about understanding yourself better, your life better, maybe someone else better, not manipulate things. And what I mean by manipulate things is, when we try to use astrology to predict something, or to even achieve some sort of result, in a way we are manipulating, right? We are trying to at least manipulate or control the outcome. It's not really something you're supposed to do. Of course, there is a prevalent, that is one of the most prevalent uses of astrology, really. But originally, it's all about understanding yourself better. It's an occult science. It's meant to get you closer to Source, God. Your own spirituality, your own soul, right? It's for you to understand why you act certain way, why you react to certain things a certain way, things like that, right? For example, if you're naturally drawn to something, why is that? If you're naturally talented at something, why is that? So your astrology, your natal chart could possibly tell you that. And of course, I'm not saying that don't check your compatibility with people or things like that. So when I said that it's just not just about understanding yourself and others, but not to control, I'm not saying that, yeah, understand them and then you understand how to be compatible with someone. So of course, if you're looking for marriage, obviously certain things are just best avoided, right? If someone is definitely has different sensibilities compared to yours, then yes, that is okay for you to take into consideration. That's not manipulating, that's just being smart, right? If someone is, there's nothing wrong in one person being very sensible and sensitive, and another person being logical. Of course, everyone is meant to work on balancing out everything, right? You need logic in your life as well, and so do you need being sensitive and caring and emotional. All of these are needed. Everyone needs to learn the lessons. But if someone is overtly too sensitive, too detached, instead of trying to force each other, because then it becomes a karmic relationship, right? It is better that you uh, choose a partner who understands you, who is not going to dismiss you, for being too emotional or too logical, either which way, right? So that's fine, that is not about that. That doesn't count as manipulation or trying to manipulate an outcome. But for example, say, I'll just use the example of Vedic astrology, because people consult that to gain outcomes, specific outcomes, because it is quite effective that way in ensuring outcomes. So I'll just give an example that way. Suppose you are about to make a move, as in move from one city to another, and people literally chalk down the dates when it is auspicious for the move, which is also okay. Um, there is nothing wrong in using astrology to boost um, the outcomes. But for example, say if you you're trying to win a lottery, right? And you try to boost the outcome somehow, because a lot of times people just don't look at the charts. They sort of what they do is they look whether they are going to get lucky in something, whether it's lottery, whether it's some sort of endeavor, okay, any financial, maybe even venture they're starting out, and it's completely okay to want to know whether this is going to work out for you. And then if there are like you see that it may not be the you may not become very successful at it, then people do consult to find out what they can do to make it successful. That also is acceptable, but what happens is if you try to take it too much, because people always more, right? And what you do is, so maybe the astrologer tells you something to be successful at it, and you do get it, but then you go back and ask, what can I do to get more and more and more? Now what happens is, if you have received enough from the universe, but you keep trying to do things which will bring you more wealth, then it is actually manipulating outcomes. Because are you really getting it because you deserve it? And yeah, there is this, of course there is enough in the universe, right? The universe is abundant, it is ever expanding, so there is enough for everyone, enough abundance to tap into for everyone. But there is also, this is also true, that a lot of people do t- tap into that wealth and they keep it for themselves, while others do not get to. Yes, there is something called poverty conscience that also needs to be worked on by people, but it is also true that people do hog wealth. People do, you know, first they gain wealth and then they gatekeep wealth. So that is also true, so we cannot overlook that. So now when you keep doing, and there are many ways, some people don't go to astrology to keep gatekeep the wealth, but say you're doing this sort of ritual, that sort of ritual, you're praying to this deity, you're praying to that deity, you're doing this, that to gain more and more and more and more wealth, right? And yes, there is nothing wrong in wanting some better life, but at certain point you have to wonder, uh, am I taking more than I need? And not everyone thinks about it, right? And that is where the disconnect comes. And they might even get it, because if you're a younger soul, you can actually um, get results from astrology. um, I was actually going to go talk about the old soul versus new soul thing later on, but I guess the message is coming out like that. So yeah, so here is how, maybe don't try to. And also when I meant that don't try to manipulate things, it's like don't go to astrology for each and everything, like whether it's a new venture you're starting, whether it's for people even do it for exams, like that's part of life. You're supposed to go through it, not rely on astrology to amplify it and boost it, because then you're using astrology to give you a boost up while you're engaging in the matrix, right? Because it's a rat race. This is part of life. Whatever exam there is, whether it's professional, whether it's career, academic, it doesn't matter, it's part of life. It's how life is, and you're supposed to do it yourself. You don't and I'm not trying to judge anyone, it's just that the more you rely on it, the more dependent you become, and the more you give into that fear based energy that, oh my god, if I don't do things exactly how it's supposed to be done, then I might not get the results that I was supposed to get. Even if you are really prepared for, say, just a regular exam, and you're really prepared for it, but maybe you thought of using this or that to boost um, the results. And I get it. I mean, who doesn't? Maybe you just want to score well and maybe get into a good university and get out of a shitty town, things like that. So that's really understandable. But here's where we fail to realize that when we try, maybe we are well prepared, but when we think that, oh my god, this will help me boost my performance, if any slight bit of you know alteration happens, which can maybe people interfere in some or the other way, our mind automatically thinks this did not happen, so that means I might fail. But that's not true, right? You are not supposed, you wouldn't fail, right? This is you. As long as you're prepared for that exam, you are supposed to get the results, right? But yes, life is unfair, so we think whatever we can to boost ourselves and our outcomes, we get it. But it's like, you see, this is where we play into the fear conscience when we rely on astrology too much. So that is one of the messages. The other one was, it is truly about understanding ourselves, our purpose, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, as opposed to always relying on it to, boost outcomes. That's less, right? It's more like, find out what sort of profession you're best suited for, and then work towards it. Don't use astrology to boost it, and even if you do, it's fine. But it should be more about, understanding yourself better and understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and then doing the work yourself, to remedy or make yourself stronger, remedy the weaker points, things like that. So that is another thing. And then why it may not work for people, even if you have the best intentions, even if you're not doing it for anything that may harm anyone, even if you don't do it all the time, like you're like, I don't really rely on astrology for each and everything, so this one thing I really wanted to give me myself a boost up, why did it not work? So here's the thing: if you're a younger soul, whether you're using astrology or manifestation techniques or anything else that can help you get results, or rather help you bring things into fruition, it will work better for you if you're a younger soul. Why? Because yes, that's a younger soul is ready. It's easier for them to go through life and different lifetimes and learn from experience. But if you're an older soul, you already have learned a lot, so you don't need to learn those lessons. Also, there is a significant of karma, whether good karma or bad karma. If you have bad karma, then your soul would be focused on releasing all the bad karma and not getting any more bad karma, right? Especially if at a soul level you do have that sort of conscience that I want to improve, I want to get better, because I do believe that uh, even at the soul level, some people can be more towards the light and more towards the dark. So, right. So that's a different topic for a different day. But say your soul is interested in ascending and releasing any bit of bad karma you have accrued over the years, or rather lifetimes, and you want to release all that, right? And then your soul itself would have set the intention that I want to do things the right way. And if you yourself in that present lifetime have also, you have learned from experience and like, no, I want to do better. So when you genuinely have that intention in your heart and your soul that I want to do better, then you're already aligned to that. So if you have already some sort of karma that needs to be cleared up, your soul will always try to ensure that you release as much as possible and take on as little bad karma as possible, right? So because the moment you try to control something, even if with best intentions, there might be karma associated even if you did not have any bad intentions. Why? Because when you try to control something, what happens is our lives are not in a bubble, right? We live in a world where our lives are very closely intertwined with other people's lives. So what happens is that the moment we try to control an outcome to anything, there are so many other variables that might be involved that we are not even aware of. And no matter how pure our intentions are, we might end up modulating, manipulating uh, some other factors. Even if we do not wish anyone harm, we just wish to give ourselves a leg up. uh, this is how we can end up accruing some sort of bad karma. And it doesn't always have to be really bad, but still it's like, if you're trying to get to release karma, then you would wanna do things like the hard way, because no cutting corners. That's literally how it's supposed to be. So when you try, as bitter a pill it is, using astrology then becomes a way to cut corners. So unfortunately, yeah, then your soul will reject it, and then that's why astrology is less effective for you. And again, if you are actually, you have released all bad karma, or you actually are born with good karma, because you have done the work in previous lifetimes and you're growing, and this lifetime is about ascending further and further, so that you can finally stop reincarnating, because that's how it works, like moksha, or rather ascension, whatever you want to call it, however you want to see it. It's like finally at a stage when you have enough good karma and you have enough enlightenment, you stop reincarnating. You finally are free to stop reincarnating, because reincarnations are all about lessons, right? So when you have learned enough lessons and you have dealt with those lessons in the right way, as in not by losing, and there's no judgment. We all learn, and we all, if the same lesson comes around again and again, right, so that we can do better. So yeah, it that's how it works. So say you do have good karma, and you um, do have um, your soul is focused on ascension, then as well it will be harder for you to, astrology won't be that much effective, or manifestation techniques, even if applied correctly, may not provide that much you know results. So it's not that the technique is ineffective, it's just that you might have a lot to release. Why? Because even if you have good karma, then you are taking on harder lessons, right? Things like breaking generational curses, this, that, fear consciousness, poverty consciousness, things like that. So until and unless you have released all of that over and over again, and it's not like just once, the universe unfortunately brings around um the lesson in different ways, so that it is clear that you have learned it, right? Because that's what you're here for. And once you have done, then things will work out actually. But yeah, for us in this limited lifetime, it can get, I get it, because it can get frustrating, because we still need to pay our bills, we still need things to go a certain way. There's only so much pain, disease, or anything that is affecting you that we can take, right? So I get it, but that is unfortunately how it works. So this is another reason why it may not work for you. And also, and why it can give you more bad karma if you are already a old soul who has good karma or is working on bad releasing bad karma. Because I already, like I mentioned, that there are so subtle ways of things getting affected without your intention being affect those, in which case it affects your karma. But apart from that, there is another thing involved here. It is all about surrender. The more you surrender with life, because the point of it is to surrender and be one with God, with source energy, with the universe, to flow with the universe, right? So the moment you try to employ astrology, you're trying to control. So that is not about flow, that is not about surrender, that is not about saying I have faith in the universe, I have faith in myself. No, the moment you try to control an outcome, it's you're basically saying that I do not truly trust, I do not truly surrender. Because why? If you do truly trust, if you do truly surrender, you wouldn't feel the need to control. The moment we feel the need to control, we say that we are afraid deep down that it may not work out that way. Even though if you have trust and you just think, oh no, maybe will just boost it, maybe you haven't seen it that way. So this is the message, that now you can see it that way, that if you truly do have enough faith in your heart and soul that this will work out, but you think, oh, maybe wouldn't it be nice to give it a leg up. But this is where we fail to realize that maybe it's not really actually doing anything good, but actually doing bad, because it might actually reduce the effectiveness of whatever we are trying to bring into fruition. Because if we have already surrendered and we are trying to bring something in, by letting go and trusting and believing, then when we try to boost it some way, we are not truly surrendering, right? We think that, oh, I have surrendered, I have truly surrendered, so I have done the work and now I'm just trying to give it a boost. But that's the thing, you are not supposed to give it a boost. The universe is going to bring it to you. It's just about when and how. But again, when you try to control, this is why I'm using the word control and manipulation. Because if you're like, it has to be this time, that time, and I get it, because life can be tough, can be hard, and the older the soul you are, it can get even harder. So I completely understand, but this is how it unfortunately works, that you when you try to employ astrology, it kind of can backfire for you as an older soul. And also because like Vedic astrology, sidereal astrology, these are more about, um, they can also very much tell you about yourself and someone else, all of those, the good stuff. But they are also focused at predicting outcomes, or finding the best possible solution to bring about an outcome that you want. But what do you do? Because it was Vedic astrology was kind of like, it came into being some thousands of years back. And why? Because it was actually the priestly class, that is the Brahmins. Um, they would bring their knowledge to help the ruling class, that is the noblemen, kings, rulers, uh, and help them give a boost, whether it is to gain wealth, whether it's to conquer land, or whether it is about um, suppressing dissent, or even growing their empire, or even their own legacy and how children, all of that. So these, the intent of as Vedic astrology was to you know literally was to manipulate and gain um, the desired outcome. So the moment you try to do that, even if it is for something that is of good intention and not to harm anyone, there is a chance that you are literally kind of manipulating energy. you're not going with the universe, you're not trusting the universe, right? So there's that. And also, um, like I was saying, just hold on a second. I lost. There's some noise outside, and I lost track of what I was channeling. Just give me a second. All right. So the rest of what I was going to channel, or had already channeled, but kind of lost track of it because of the sound outside. So the other part was what you can do then. What can you do to manifest something you desire without it affecting your karma, whether you're a younger soul or an older soul, and it's more effective for an older soul. But even for a younger soul, you can put it into, you can try this, because at the end of the day, it will bring you closer to what each and every soul desires, that is, to learn, grow, and ascend, right? So what you can do, instead of using astrology to control an outcome, or if it doesn't work for you at all, like I said, for oldest, the older the soul you are, the harder it is to get desired results through astrology. So in that case, what can you do? Because you know that something is for you, you really desire it, and you feel it in your soul, and you have only good intentions, then how do you, amplify? It's all about just being, tapped into your higher self, because your higher self has access to all realities, all dimensions, parallel lives. So your future self, and we have multiple future selves, so that is again a different discussion. But say the future self, that is living the desired reality that you are interested in bringing into fruition. Your higher self already knows what that future self did to bring that into fruition, and not just what you need to do to get to that reality, but also how to even um, make a better reality. Because like I said, multiple realities, right? So it is possible that you even have a better outcome than what your future self is already living, because past, present, and future are all together at the same. It's not like in the future we just perceive it like that. So your future self is already living in that reality, in that timeline, at the same time that you're living in, right? So your higher self already knows what you need to do to access that timeline. But if you want, your higher self could also help you have even better, right? Even better. For example, say your future self living in that reality made one or two mistakes. It is still the reality that you want, but maybe one or two details here or there are um, kind of not exactly how you wanted, but you're still happy. It is still great for that, in that timeline, in that moment, that self is living their highest timeline. But it is possible to even have a better timeline, because that's how it works, right? So in that case, whatever your that self did to get to that timeline will help you. And also the mistakes made would be something that your higher self will be able to guide you on, so that you can avoid that, to get a even better outcome. Not to mention, astrology cannot predict what other people will do, but our lives are not in a bubble, right? We live in a world where reality is shaped not just by us, but everyone else around us. Because if it was just us, then it would have been easier. But that is why it also doesn't work, because free will is there. Even if you set an intention, you do a ritual, you do whatever the astrologer asks you to do, etc., etc., you take the steps on the very specific days, times, etc., even then things can be derailed if there are other people involved, there are energies involved, right? Whether it is intentionally malicious to derail you, or it is just, people being people and acting out of their ego. Even if it is not part of a malicious intent, people can act different ways. Like someone's can say that, yeah, I will see you through this, but they don't. So that will all obviously affect your reality to an extent, right? So what, but your astrology cannot predict this, but your higher self can. Your higher self has access to all the timelines, all the realities you're living in, both actual ones and the possible ones that your future self also hasn't accessed, right? But is a possibility for you to access. So, and bring into reality in that case. So your higher self can tell you what you can do to uh, get to that timeline, and what you can avoid to, get the best possible outcome, which people to trust, who to not trust, who to stay away from, things like that. So the more you're tapped into your soul, the better. Because I could personally, from my experience, can say that there have been so many times that astrologers have told me, like I had actually consulted them on pursuing something that I had been called to do on a soul level. But that was a lesson for me as well, because I knew I was being called to do that, but I still wanted to check, and all I also wanted to just amplify it, like I wanted to think about the best time to do it and things like that. And what happened was, I know the guidance I received was very much from a place of good intent. They did want to help me, and there was no ill intent involved. But what happened was, whatever they told me was from the consciousness that they hold. And it is possible for the person that you're consulting to have a lower level of consciousness than you, or even if not lower level, it's just that they have not expanded their consciousness to the degree that you have. Doesn't mean that they are not a good soul, doesn't mean they're not a good person, definitely. But they can only give you as much guidance that they can um, possibly they are possibly aware of at that moment, right? And that may not be enough for you, and that may actually not work for you, right? So basically what happened was, whatever he had told me, um, it actually kind of derailed me for a little bit. So it kind of caused some problems in my life, and I'm still on track, but then there was a detour, right? So that's the thing. And I know that that person did not wish any harm. He was actually very, he wanted to do the best for me. And it's also true that it's not just about him and his guidance, there were also other people involved, right? Because I know for a fact that there were people whose actions were not supposed to be how they, were not. How do I say, fated, like as in there is, that's why fate and destiny are different. Because even if something is not supposed to happen, it can happen because people choose to do something they're not supposed to have done. So that is the thing. But your higher self is aware of the past, the present, and the future, of all timelines, of all everything. So that is why your soul is always, your intuition, your soul is always going to be the guiding light. Tap into it. As an old soul, that is the only way. And even as a newer soul, the more you do it through your, go through your intuition, the more you're aligning to yourself, to your higher self, the more you're already fast tracking yourself towards ascension, all of that. So I hope this helps. I know that even when we have the best intentions, we just need to sometimes see things in a different way. Like even few years back, I wouldn't have seen things this way. Like because I would have, like, I'm coming from the best of intentions, why would it ever have any sort of karmic consequence? But it does. So that is the very subtle way that karma works. And I hope this helps, and I also hope it helps you when you see that astrology didn't help you, even though you had the best interest, even your astrologer had the best interest, and you're like, what went wrong? This is what went wrong. Sometimes you just have to lean in, because at the end of the day, the universe wants you to lean in, you know just trust and grow your connection to the universe more and more. Just like sometimes you can overdo even your intuition, like if you're not grounding, things like that. But that's a different message. I tend to ramble, but sorry, but it's just something I got. So yeah, there is always about balance, but here the truth is, you should always follow your intuition. Tap into your soul. Your soul knows everything, your high soul knows everything. That's how you should proceed. All right, I hope this helps. And definitely, now that you know, try to, it doesn't mean that give up on astrology. No, study your chart. It will help you understand yourself. There's so much to understand ourselves. This both the major choices, major behavioral patterns, and also the smaller subtle ways, the subconscious, all of that. There's always so much to learn, and astrology can help you that way. But when it comes to taking action about something, or to bring something into fruition, rely less on astrology and more on yourself. And even if you do, like, it's completely okay if you want to, see when it would be the best time to start a business. Mm, so it's okay completely. But if you see that the best time is this day on a year, but that's like few months away, but you already have everything to start now, don't wait that long. Because life is not about, the moment when you think, oh no, that day, that means that you're coming from a fear consciousness, that if you are not going to, if you do not start it that way, it may not be that successful. But that's not true. You're already ready. You're ready because you're meant to start now. So start. That's fine. Find a date that is much more closer. There will be, because it's everything in the universe is in cycles. So even if it's not the luckiest day in the year for you, it's still going to be a good enough day. Find one and start, because you should not, no, you need not wait to take action on something that you know is um, going to work out for you, right? Because when you wait, you're allowing other things to affect the outcome as well. So that is something. And also we are giving into that fear consciousness, right? So that's the message. Just do it, whatever it is. As important as it is to have caution, as important as it is to be aware even of the astrological placements, and which day is good, which day is bad, you need not control each and every part of your life that way, because that is only going to do more harm than good, right? There's so many things that goes on that we that we don't understand. And the moment when we wait, even if you're ready, if you wait, you allow things to people to interfere, you allow energies to interfere, you allow competitors to come up with the same thing right? And of course you're also giving in to that fear consciousness, like I mentioned. So there are so many ways things could go wrong. So in this moment, when you know it can go right, don't wait. Don't let astrology be the deciding factor. You are the deciding factor. You are the creator, right? You're the co-creator. You're co-creating with the universe. So you don't have to wait for astrology. Right now is the time, whatever it is. And I'm if and so I don't know why I'm talking about now is the time so strictly. So if any of you are actually contemplating on doing something, then maybe this is the time. Do it. Side message, maybe I'll pull some cards over it on it. So yeah, all the best. But do keep this in mind for future, and if you have anything right now that you need to do, all the best. I hope this helps.